Hi, Viola Rose here, and today I'm sitting here with Drunvalo Melchizedek and Adam Yellowbird, and we're going to share a conversation about the indigenous journeys and things that they have done in the past, the gatherings, the inspiration, and also what is present now for inspiration with the beings connected to the earth, and also looking forward to what's coming up. And so I'd like to turn the conversation over to you, Adam Yellowbird, to get us started and introduce whatever you'd like to share.
Good day to each and every one of you. It's an honor to be here and to be here with one of our great teachers, Drunvalo. It's good to see you again and be present with you. And a lot has transpired over the years and all of our work together. And I'm just so much looking forward to our process here together in this interview and these sharings, and to bring some good information to the folks that are listening here today. So it's an honor to be here, and thank you. And I'll pass it over to Drunvalo here, and then we can start our conversation.
Well, this is a very special thing that is about to happen, because there is certain things in the world right now that are not in balance, and we're here to bring them back into balance. And with the blessings of the Kogi and the Arhuacos and many other groups of indigenous peoples around the world, and whatever we can do, I think that it will become clear what it is. Right now, we don't really know. We've been sent here by the Kogi and the Arhuacos, and there's two other groups with them, and I've spent a fair amount of time with them, because they're some of the most beautiful, most amazing people I've ever met in my life. And I watched how they build their little towns that they would build, and how they would make use of water, and how they would plant trees everywhere they were going through the jungle, so there was always food, and how they worked together. And it was inspiring to me. I had never seen anything like it before, and we became very close. I don't know why we became that close. It's just, it took time. It was many trips down there to be with them, and this is in Colombia, South America, and we've also done things here in Sedona.
So we've been together working, well, over about 20 years now, Drunvalo and I, and part of the efforts that I've been working with indigenous folks, along with our elders from Colombia, who's Drunvalo has mentioned here today, is putting on national and international gatherings. And these gatherings were to share their culture, their traditions, their prophecies, their stories, and the recuperation of their ancestral sites, and what that meant for the times we're living in. So these gatherings we've had in the bottom of the Grand Canyon, here in Sedona, in Central America and Guatemala, and in Colombia, and throughout the world, as Drunvalo and I have also traveled. And these gatherings, one of the great gatherings that were created, that I put together, was called the Return of the Ancestors. And that this ancient knowledge and wisdom was going to be coming back into each and every one of us, indigenous or non-indigenous, and indigenous being those peoples of Mother Earth that were connected to the Mother herself, to receive that wisdom and knowledge and the technology. So this work was to bring the awareness and the consciousness that these ancestors, the peoples of the Mother Earth, have been holding for thousands of years. And we worked in collaboration to put these events together, to share that knowledge, to share their technology of how to restore thyself and the mother herself. So one of the gatherings was also called Bridging the Americas, and it was bringing that consciousness, how if we started taking care of ourselves and our works together in our families and communities, we could start uniting the Americas. And one of those places, as many of the places that we would go were very specific to the connectivity that these sacred sites would have to all the other sacred sites, which you can see in a way here, what's behind us, the flower of life. If you can only but imagine where those petals meet there. A lot of these pyramids and sacred sites were placed on those regions, and we would work them along with the ceremonies and sharings and culture exchanges to activate not only ourselves but the Mother Earth herself. And so I know, Drunvalo, you've been very instrumental in that in many ways through your teachings and efforts, but in our collaborations working together to bring people from all over the world. So that is continuing. It's still continuing.
And I also just want to interject to say that in some of Drunvalo's books, you can read about some of these adventures and some of these ceremonies and some of these sacred travels and gatherings. And so if you've read any of Drunvalo's books, you have an idea of what Adam is speaking about right here.
Yes, yes. I encourage you to do so, and to look at the efforts that we've worked through, in all these years, and we're moving forward now. So I'm coming forward here today along with Drunvalo to share the next steps that we'll be taking in some of this work.
Well, you just got back from Colombia, right?
Yes.
Right, and they sent you here to try to understand what the next step is, because there's changes that are happening here, not just in the United States, but all over the whole world, and not only in the world, but in the entire universe. Something is changing that it's hard to even imagine that, because it's so huge. But we have to do what we can do, whatever that is. We have to do it, because if we don't, it's going to be not good for life in the universe. But if we do what we know we are capable of doing, it's going to change everything. And let me just tell you one little thing right now. One of the problems that we've had on the earth for a long time is that there's been no consciousness on this planet. Literally, there's nothing that actually was real consciousness. And so in 1982, 83, and 84, we got many ETs, about 500 ETs and about 200 humans. And we got together and we created something that I didn't know how to do it. In fact, even my ET friends didn't know how to do it. But between our talkings and our meetings and everything else, it came down that there were people, mostly ETs, that knew how to do what we were trying to do. And so it took about 3 years, but at the end, it was complete.
And you're talking about the Christ consciousness grid.
The Christ consciousness grid was established on the planet for the first time. It took 10 years for it to actually begin to function. And then something happened that I couldn't understand in the beginning. Was suddenly, very quickly, in less than a few months, a new consciousness grid. But it wasn't a grid. Grid is where the ETs is the only way they know how to make ETs, make it consciousness. is by taking crystals, very specific kinds of crystals, especially ones that have 52 angle degrees, and a lot of other things that they've learned over long periods of time. And they put them together and they bury them in the earth, and it starts making lines between the earth, and they curve around the world until it goes all the way around the world. And that took about almost 3 years. And then a waiting time of about 10 years. And then Mother Earth stepped in, and she did something that it's just amazing. It really is. She figured out a way to create not a grid, but a sphere of consciousness around the earth. And when she did it, the ETs started coming here from everywhere. My friend is one who runs the Area 51, and he says there's more ETs under the ground right now than we've ever seen before, because we have one of the strongest, if maybe the strongest, consciousness on Mother Earth ever, anywhere.
And so what you're
And-
saying is that this came in this year, so this is something new,
Yeah.
that the Earth herself has developed on her own after the Christ consciousness grid came into place, that now this year the Earth has developed a consciousness sphere, the next level of
Yeah.
inspiration, evolution, and activation for us that we can connect and tune into. And so this marries perfectly into being connected to the Earth and being with the people who are connected to the Earth. And there is a link here between what you're sharing that
Yeah.
is worth noting.
We're just going to do the best we can. That's all we can do. And that's all you can do too. It's just the best you can, the best you know how to do to make this better. And I know we will do it. And I've watched it happen many, many times on Earth where it looked impossible. There's no way to get around it. But we found ways, and we're still here on Earth, and we are still making life better.
So I was just going to ask Adam if you want to tie into that, what Drunvalo is sharing, and share what you're focusing on currently at this time that connects into this movement and this
Yes.
activation.
But when we talk about the ancestors and the star nations, a lot was left behind when you see the temples or the pyramids. And like the symbol here, the flower of life, you'll find it in some of the ancient sites. And so what I'm doing, and a group of us, and what we were working towards for many, many years of putting these gatherings together, is to have the meetings, sometimes, with the general public, but also private meetings. How can we move forward and bring this greater consciousness? And what were the tools that they were using, the indigenous people? And a lot of times they were these, and still are today, these ancestral spiritual houses or universities. And we see the remnants today throughout the Americas, which many people go to take tours, and go to these sites to maybe gather a remembrance or connect to the energies. And what the indigenous peoples, one of the projects we're working with right now is recuperating these ancestral sites. How does that process, briefly to go into that, how does that happen is in the recuperation of our own governing bodies and our own systems and connectivity to our universal beings, or the sun, the moon, the earth, and the cosmic universe there, but also to gather that energy in these spiritual houses and be in dialogue and with a consensus. So that's what we're working on throughout the Americas now, is a consensus through the Americas and the indigenous peoples coming together, not only for themselves, but for all of humanity, to share the wealth and to share the knowledge. So we are recuperating these lands. Spiritual houses are being built. And the call for one of these houses has come very strong. That's one of the reasons I'm here today, is to build a spiritual house here in North America, so that ancient wisdom can be shared. And so that house would be constructed for them to bring their teachings to the world and share it, and gather different students and people to bring that knowledge forward. So it is happening, and to bring the wealth and prosperity back into the people's hands, not just indigenous people, but for all peoples. And so we're also working towards 2026, spring, summer, and fall, to have a few conferences. One of the conferences will be here in Sedona, other one in the Midwest, and I believe there's going to be an upcoming conference in Japan, not too far from Mount Fuji, I do believe, that we're working together to bring this ancient knowledge and wisdom, and all at very sacred sites. And
that Southern Japan would really tune to.
yes, yeah. So that's forthcoming, and we're working diligently. We have teams on the ground right now, working to help them, to help the elders in Colombia and the indigenous peoples throughout Central and South America and North America, so that they can continue this work and bring the tools and the gifts to each and every one of us.
Would you talk a little bit about what the Kogi said and the Kogi and the Arhuacos about the grandfathers and what is happening on this level? Or you can hold that for later if you want, but
The part where some of us, which I think you would understand, Drunvalo, and others that may be listening, is when we did 2009, the Return of the Ancestors, that was like the call. And they were there, the Kogi Arhuaco were with us. And that was the call, like, okay, now's the time that they're returning. Also the Star Nation and the ETs, like you had mentioned. And they're really seeing that those of us showing up now and with this greater consciousness and that have arrived to planet Earth, are those ancestors, to bring the gifts and to bring their, what I call, technologies, in connectivity to the earth, but also to the universe. So there's a lot of that coming in, and there's an acknowledgement and working together. We've had enough, what they said is, put down the arms. We've had enough strife, conflict, organizations against organizations, people against people, and we no longer have to arm ourselves. That would go for the indigenous and non-indigenous people of the world, to really work together to coexist in this time. So one of their messages is like, stay in positivity right now. We know the levels of negativity that are out there and moving throughout the world, but to stay in positivity and to transmute and transform these negative energies. We also need those negative charges and positive charges at the same time. So they really want to help us, and they're constantly, and you've been there before, you see them constantly working on transmuting and transforming. They're constantly working at these sacred sites to help us be able to attune to this and transmute and transform our own personal negative charged energies, so that we can come forth and really step up to the plate. And there's a lot to come for each of us, and in the future will be shared more, and they'll be bringing more, and they do want to come here to the north. They want to come here very much so, to share their wisdom, so you can see them personally with your own eyes and feel and be in their presence, so that they can give those transmissions. There's a lot that is spoken, and there's much that is unspoken. And they also want us as the elders, or the elder brothers, some folks call them, is to connect to your telepathic abilities. That's like the next level, as many of you know, to be able to attune yourself.
Almost all the indigenous people understand this in one way or another, because it's silent and it can be kept secret when you talk to someone else. And this is all over through the universe. They're also into that. When you look at them, what they will be able to talk with their voice, or they can switch over to their mind. And this is something that we do need to do in order to remain inside of what we need to be. There's things we need to remember. The older people are beginning to forget a lot of things, not just normally, but other things. And I'm one of them. I'm 84. I'll be 85 in January. And I'm learning how to not forget. There are ways that we have learned, and so there's a lot of things we're going to have to rethink and redo, because we have to. Otherwise, the young people will not know what to do. That's not fair for them. And at the same time, because they have come from the ETs and from the levels of consciousness that are now just emerging into the earth, they can handle things themselves. They are actually adults, even though they're children, but they have adult ways of being, and we don't understand that at all. We just don't. We look at our kids and we think they're crazy. They're not crazy. They're just making changes, and those changes really need to be made. But this needs a lot of thought, and the only way we can do that is to get together and really go through each one of these different things that we have to learn, and the children have to be there too. They need to be there and to listen to the adults to see what we're thinking, because they think we're crazy. Look at what we're doing in the world. And they don't see that as healthy, and they want to change it. I want them to change it. I do. I want them to begin new ways of doing everything. We don't need to do what we did before. We can do something brand new, and where it will change our lives in ways that even the Kogi and the Arhuacos will be happy with what we're doing. And I know them pretty well at this point. I love them. I love them dearly, because I know who they are. Just look at this one thing they did with the yeah, when you have a sip. With the Spanish conquistadors, they came in and started killing people like us, even though we're not directly Native American. We figured it out, or they figured it out. When they came in, they got on their horses, they got their guns and rifles and everything else, and they came after them. What did they do? Everything that they was on, all their clothing, their shoes, everything was handmade, and they went off and they started walking up high into the mountains, and they kept walking and walking and walking until the horses couldn't go any higher. It was around 12,000 feet to 15,000 feet when the horses just started dropping dead. They couldn't handle it. And that's why the Kogi and the Arhuacos are still alive, because they outsmarted the old way, was just go kill them all. And they couldn't get to us. And now they're at about 21,000 feet. They can walk through solid rock and they can float. this may sound crazy, but I've watched them do it. And they're there at these tremendous heights, and they are learning how to do things that they've never done before. And they are the ones I really want to come to us, or we can go to them. They showed me how to bring 100 people through about 12 feet or something of solid rock into the place where they were. And they were all floating about 2 feet off the ground. And they came right up to each person and they could speak any language in the universe, literally.
So this can something ties into this timeless movement. And maybe you want to give some words of inspiration of how people right now, wherever they are, can connect to these energies and to this wisdom.
Well, the earth created the best consciousness sphere that has ever been made before. And the earth, being the mother that she is, the loving mother, she loves us. She does. And she gave all of her knowledge on this that she learned to the sun, our new sun. And most people don't even know we have a brand new sun. Our old sun, the hydrogen sun, died a few months ago. It ran out of hydrogen and it couldn't not exist and keep going. And so it used the hydrogen sphere, which was the next one to come up, and it's a whole new sun with brand new light that has never been on our earth before, and it's changing everything in our universe. Everything is changing because of it, and because the mother gave it to the father, it's giving it now. It says if she's going to give this to me, then I'm going to give it to every star in the universe. And that's what's happening right now. That all the stars in the universe are becoming what are called flash stars. And they are learning how to make changes in their solar systems and in all kinds of ways. And the earth and the plants and trees and things that are on the earth are changing size. They're changing their colors of their leaves. It's all, we're getting a brand new planet, a brand new sun, and we are the ones, we people, ordinary people, have to learn how to do this, to change with it, to make changes in ourselves and in our children, which they want us to do. And they want to have a mother and father, but the mother and fathers don't know how to take care of their children anymore. And we have to figure it all out. And there's nobody else that can. It's only the people that have understanding about what's going on. And most of the people in the world don't really understand. They don't even know we're under a new sun.
So this is what I see right now, is that what you're sharing, Adam, about the indigenous wisdom and being connected to Mother Earth, and what Drunvalo you are sharing about connecting to this new higher energy coming in from the sun. It really comes back to the basic idea of connecting with Mother Earth and Father Sun as a way to come into our hearts and help us evolve to the next levels. And this is our work at hand right now, and our celebration, and what we get to do to help this next wave come in.
Yeah, exactly. I'll back you up on that too. It's like this, we should be celebrating. At the darkest hour, we can be the most brilliant lights. And what you've shared, Drunvalo, about the opportunities we have and the connectivities and the emotion that came through here today that you are bringing forth to each and every one of us is that pure essence. And through this ancestral knowledge and through the works that we've worked together, Drunvalo, over 20 years now, I want to continue that. I'm completely dedicated to continue this work and to be an ally and to work together with each and every one of you that are listening here, and to welcome you too, to be a part of this evolution of our planet, of our sun, of our humanity. And the things that I can do is make the efforts of putting together these reunions and gatherings and help them in the restoration work.
Well, the most important thing that if we know this one thing, we can not only figure it out, we will do it.
Yes.
Because it will give us everything we need. Mother Earth has made this sphere around the Earth. If you took the Earth and say it's the size of a golf ball, there's a sphere around it about 20 feet around it. It's a perfect sphere, very, very thin, but it is what the highest level of consciousness that's ever been in the universe ever. And even more than that, she gave it to the sun. And I don't know exactly how much stronger it is, but I would say 4 or 5 times stronger than the Earth. And there's so much more. There's millions of ETs that want to be friends with us and want to share what they have learned. And they have created so many things that we don't even know about. We don't even understand it. And yet they can teach it to you in a blink of an eye. And they've been teaching it to me. And I am so happy to know that the universe really wants to be one with us in ways that we have forgotten. The source of life is in the sunlight. Literally, it's here. You are when you look at the sun, you're looking at God. And it is more than we know. And when the source of life first got here, it wanted to give us something, 2 things. It wanted to give us the Merkaba, which is the reason why I'm here. And it also wanted to give us the consciousness because if you have the right consciousness and the right Merkaba, we can change this world so fast. It would just take minutes, really. And with the help of the universe, the people that are here, they look different than us, but some of them look just exactly like us. And we're going to show you all this stuff.
Yeah, and we're going to start making more videos when Drunvalo's new book, The Ancient Secret of the Flower of Life, Volume 3 comes out. And if you'd like to share where people can learn more about these gatherings and the work that you're doing.
One of the areas you can go to is my website, adamdearmon.com. We'll be having updates there. Also, icsaw.com.
Would you say that again?
ICSAW is International Center of Spiritual and Ancestral Wisdom.
And we can put the links beneath.
Yeah, we'll put some.
Okay.
And to follow up and to help these folks, because these elders that we're speaking about here today, not only in Colombia, but throughout the Americas, really want to bring the tools and the good information and welcome you all to the human family and to help assist in your consciousness and the awakening that we're living in right now. And so I'm very much looking forward to keeping in touch with each of you. Also, Drunvalo continuing our works together over all these years. And thank you so much for bringing, your true essence once again to each of the folks here today and to be present with you. It's an honor.
Well, the Kogi and the Arhuacos, they are deep friends at this point.
Yes.
And I see that what they need, and how can we say no to that? We have to say yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so as for Drunvalo's contact information, drunvalomelchizedek.com will be going live sometime in the next year. And so there'll be more information there, and then more information at the Drunvalo Melchizedek official YouTube channel. And The Ancient Secret of the Flower of Life, Volume 3, look to that to be kind of coming out next year as well.
Yeah.
So we'll put all those links below
I want to.
and give a nice closing statement if you would.
I just want to say one thing about Volume 3. It was sent to a person in Germany who's been a friend of mine for 25 years, and he has the oldest uh, uh, publishing company for books, probably in the world. I don't really know, but it's the biggest one in all of Europe. And that one, we sent to him just recently, about a week ago, Volume 3. He had never seen it, and he started reading it, and he said he couldn't stop, and until it was done. And when it was done, he told me, he says, "This is the most powerful book, spiritual book that I have ever read in my life." And this is going to happen because this is the most important book that I have ever seen.
And I know a lot of you are out there have been so waiting for it, but just know it has been such a labor of love and perfection that
Well,
this is why it has taken so long, and it will be out. It is completed. It's going through a printing and publishing and translation process now. And so you will be very excited, I am sure, when that comes to.
And because of
The
this
world.
new consciousness, which right now, right this minute, you can connect to the earth or the sun's consciousness and bring it into your body, and it will begin to, you can live forever, actually. We're going to give you NI, not AI. AI is not going to live for very long. What's going to overcome it is NI. NI is natural intelligence. This is what animals use, and people and everything else. When it's a lot of times we don't know, but it is. It's like AI. It can go through the entire source of everything that's happened in the universe and know instantaneously what it is you want to know. And your Merkaba can talk to you in any language in the universe and tell you what it is.
So if you want to learn more about Drunvalo's teachings and information and all the activations and understandings that he has brought through, you can also visit remembertheheart.com, where you find his certified Awakening the Illuminated Heart teachers.
Yeah.
And we teach his body of work, so you can learn more in that way.
Yeah, this is the time. It is the time. We need to come together.
Yes.
And all you got to do is just open your eyes and learn how to do the things that we just talked about, and you will be able to do anything. When it says what you have to do, you will know exactly how to do it.
Thank you, Drunvalo.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your
Thank
wisdom.
both of you.
Yeah.
I need both of you to help in this way, and I want to help the Kogi and the Arhuacos and all. I know there's four. I only really know the Kogi and the Arhuacos.
We have the Kogi, Arhuaco, Wiwa, and Kunquamo.
Yeah, the Kunquamo, it's kind of. I know they keep building in their places. They build 4 fires for each one of them, keeping them alive, and they want to.
Yeah.
But it's been a little hard with one of them, and because they're into driving pickups and drinking beer, but doesn't mean that it's going to always be that way.
Right.
We can change this. We can change everything, not only in indigenous tribes everywhere.
Yes.
We can bring them back to the reality of who they really are, and who they really are is their ancestors from a long time ago, and they're here now in this planet, and anything is now possible. Anything. at all. We can change it all.
Mm,
Yes.
Thank you.
And so let's just do it. And thank you for being
Yeah.
from my heart and to your
Yes.
heart. And
Mhm.
we've been taught all this information, and it's come from many places in the universe. And all we have to do is just listen and understand, and you'll know exactly what to do.
Thank you, John.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.